Hi, I'm Madison. There are going to be twins, enemies, lovebirds, and a ton of adventures in my story. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, grab some snacks. I had everything I could possibly want. A big house with a swimming pool, loving parents, and a happy childhood. Recently, I met a gorgeous guy called Phil. We felt a spark between us and became an item. We loved roller skating around the city together. Things were going great until I found out Phil had a twin called Edward. The two of them were as different as night and day. Phil was good-natured and naive like a child. As for Edward, he was gloomy and rude. They didn't get along and hated being mistaken for each other. They even dyed their hair different colors to avoid that. Edward disliked me as soon as he saw me. I didn't understand why that grump seemed to hate me so much, but he looked like he'd swallowed a lemon whenever I hung out with Phil at their house. Ugh, you are so sweet, my teeth hurt when I look at you. Don't listen to him, Madison, he's just jealous. Edward desperately wanted us to break up. One day he put on a wig to look like Phil and took me out on a date. He drove me up the wall so that I would get mad at Phil and dump him. Baby, do you always look like a scarecrow or is today special? Luckily, I saw right through him. I took off Edward's wig and smirked. Nice try, but I can always tell you apart. This isn't over. As I watched my parents pack their bags that evening, I wondered out loud why Edward hated me so much. I didn't do anything to him. Why is he acting like a prickly cactus? Oh, honey, sometimes boys hide their true feelings behind masks. I think Edward fell for you. I doubt that, Mom. Soon, my parents got into a taxi and left for the airport. They were going on a 2-week vacation in Hawaii. Madison, we know how responsible you are, so we haven't hired a babysitter. Don't worry, the house will still be standing when you come back. I decided to test Mom's theory and went to Phil's house the very next day. While he was making us sandwiches, I sneaked into his brother's room. What I saw there made me freeze in shock. There were photos of me hanging above Edward's bed. He really is obsessed with me. I heard his footsteps and couldn't think of anything better to do than hide in the closet. As I sat there, I heard Edward walk into the room, grumbling to himself. Madison came over again. I hate it when they cuddle. Now I knew that Edward was just jealous. I couldn't help but giggle. Edward heard me and opened the closet door, furious. Madison, what are you doing here? Phil and I were playing hide and seek. I calmly got out of the closet and told him he didn't need to act like he hated my guts anymore. I know you have a crush on me. You even hung my photos above your bed. Don't make me laugh. I throw darts at your pictures. You're a terrible person and I don't want my dumb brother to go out with you. That pissed me off. Why did he think I was a terrible person? Edward scowled and said he had seen me hanging out on the beach with some hooligans. I'd apparently even stolen a fishing rod from a fisherman on the pier for a laugh. I wish I'd taken a photo of you to make Phil see you for what you really are. Wow, your imagination is working overtime. I snorted and stormed out of the room. Edward clearly had issues. However, things soon took a wild turn. Phil and I were roller skating when Edward ran up to us. He showed us a photo of me hugging some tattooed guy on the beach. Ha! Gotcha, Madison. Phil, do you believe me now? Your girlfriend is leading a double life. I told Phil his brother must have used Photoshop, but he didn't believe me. You cheater. We're done. He trudged home miserably and Edward grinned triumphantly. In your face, Madison, I've exposed your lies. I wanted to throttle Edward. However, I decided to prove to Phil his nasty brother was a liar instead. I came to that beach. There really were some troublemakers hanging out on it. They were blasting music by bonfires and littering. My eyes bugged out when I saw a girl that looked a lot like me among them. Of course, she didn't look like my exact copy, but the resemblance was astonishing. So that's who Edward saw. The girl noticed me and came over. She said her name was Sam. Wow, it's like I'm looking in a mirror. I smiled and asked if she had been adopted. Could she be my lost sister? However, Sam didn't laugh. I grew up in an orphanage and fell in with a bad crowd. We've been hanging around the beach a lot lately. I don't know anything about my parents. I was lost for words. What if Sam really was my sister, and my parents had left her in an orphanage for some reason? I immediately called my mom and asked her about it. I think I just met my sister. Mind explaining what's going on? Mom gasped in surprise. I could hear my parents whispering to each other. Eventually, they admitted it was all true. How could you two meet? It shouldn't be possible. Okay, Madison, the truth is, that's how I found out my parents' biggest secret. They were successful and wealthy now, but back when my sister and I were born, they had been dirt poor. They were afraid they wouldn't be able to provide for 2 children. At that time, we knew a rich couple that couldn't have kids. They wanted to adopt one of you. We were desperate enough to agree. We were sure they would be able to give our baby more than we could. They moved to Italy and we lost contact. I wonder why your sister is here. It took me a while to digest that information, and then I got spitting mad. Your rich friends turned out to be scumbags. They left their their daughter at an orphanage. She fell in with a bad crowd. Oh dear, we didn't know. Okay, invite her to our place. We'll talk as soon as we get back. Sam was standing next to me and heard everything. As soon as I put the phone away, she burst into tears of joy and hugged me. I'm so glad I found my family. I brought my sister home and gave her a tour. Her eyes were sparkling like gems with delight. Wow, that swimming pool and those gorgeous cars. Your home is awesome. While she was looking around, I called Edward and showed him Sam. Look, you idiot, there are two of us. It was my sister in that photo. I didn't know you had a sister. I didn't either, but that's not important right now. I'm going to throw a party and prove to Phil I didn't cheat on him. It's your fault we broke up, so I need you to make sure he comes. Edward reluctantly agreed. Soon, everything was ready. I only invited my closest friends. That was also my chance to introduce Sam to everyone. Sis, these are my friends, and Edward, don't mind him. Phil was over the moon when he found out I hadn't cheated on him. I was on cloud 9 too. We made up, but I was a bit annoyed when he spent the whole evening talking to Sam. You and Madison are like 2 drops of water, but you couldn't be more different. You're so cool. Oh, thanks, handsome. Everyone was having fun except Edward. He definitely felt out of place and kept glaring at Sam. If I were you, I wouldn't trust her. Have you seen the people she hangs out with? You don't get it. She's had a rough childhood. I'm sure Sam will turn over a new leaf now. She's going to be a pain in the butt. Just you wait. I hate to admit it, but Edward was right. Sam quickly got used to her new home and started to act like she owned it. She'd make a mess, take our parents' car for a drive without permission, and even steal stuff. Sam, I can't find Mom's jewelry box anywhere. Have you taken it? Maybe I have. It's not yours. Give it back. Don't be greedy, sis. Now it's my home too. I can take everything that's here. I felt sorry for her and didn't kick up much of a fuss. Then one day, I saw Sam on a walk with Phil. I didn't doubt she fooled my boyfriend into thinking she was me. Phil, open your eyes. She's an imposter. I'm the real Madison. His answer stunned me. Yeah, I know it's Sam. I'm sorry, but I like her better than you. She's my new girlfriend. Whoa, what? Sam smiled at me mockingly and led Phil away. I couldn't pull myself together for a long time. It was nuts. What a snake. I was kind to her, but she stabbed me in the back. That same evening, I watched Phil's stories and saw him hanging out with Sam's psycho friends. Those guys were absolute lunatics, and it showed in everything they did. I was furious with Phil for betraying me, but I couldn't leave him to the wolves. So I called Edward and suggested we team up. We need to save your gullible brother and put Sam in her place. Is that all you have to say to me? I'm sorry, Edward. You were right about everything. Now we're talking. Okay, see you in an hour. We tried to figure out what kind of person Sam was. Each new fact we learned about her made me more on edge. My sister wasn't just hanging out with those thugs. She was their leader. After a while, we saw Sam arguing with a man who looked like a hobo. Please stop. Get lost, you're not the boss of me. Yeah, Sam was a piece of work. Edward suggested we go to the orphanage my sister grew up in and ask around about her. Imagine our surprise when they said they had no idea who Sam was. Take a closer look. She said she grew up here. This is my first time I'm seeing her. Long story short, we left the orphanage with nothing. Sam is definitely hiding something. Don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of it. Edward, thank you for, helping me. I never thought we'd make such a good team. I'm only doing this for my moron of a brother. I don't care about you. Yeah, I know. I came back and was stunned. Sam had thrown a party and invited her wacko friends to it. Phil was there too. They thrashed our poor house. Music was blasting down the street as they danced on the table and smashed everything in sight. Have fun. There are no rules tonight. I didn't manage to calm them down or chase them away. Eventually, I reached my limits and called my parents. Look at what my sister has done. She doesn't listen to me. Do something. I pointed the camera at Sam, who was dancing at the time, and my parents' eyes widened in horror. Honey, that girl looks a lot like you, but she's not your sister. I had twins. I don't know who that is. We'll be back soon and figure it all out. Get out of there for now. What if she's dangerous? What? My blood ran cold. I was still in shock when Edward called me. Madison, I found out something interesting about your so-called sister. Get over here. He gave me an address and I ran there as fast as I could. Soon I was standing in front of a dilapidated house. A poor couple lived in it. I recognized the man in worn clothes. Sam had been arguing with him about something. What's going on? Who are these people? You should listen to their story. The man sighed heavily and said that they were Sam's parents. Sam had never lived in an orphanage. That was her home. I'm sorry for everything our daughter has done to you. Sam can't be trusted. She's vindictive and has broken the law many times. I've asked her to come to her senses countless times, but she never listens. My head was spinning. I finally realized what had happened. Sam must have noticed how similar we looked and decided to trick me. She said that she was my lost sister, and when she found out my parents were on vacation, vacation, she seized the chance to drive the cars, wear the jewelry, and throw parties in their house. No words could describe how mad I was. I called the police, and then I called the crazy imposter. I know everything, and I've called the cops. Get out of my house and out of my life. Is that right? Well, don't blame me, sis. It's your fault Phil's about to be hurt. She hung up on me. Edward and I were afraid Sam would hurt Phil, so we ran to the party to stop her. However, there was no one there anymore. Sam, Phil, and their gang had left. Dang it, where could they be now? That's when the cops arrived. Well, where's the loud party? I told him Sam had managed to escape. Meanwhile, Edward got a call from his brother. Do you know the code to Dad's safe? What do you need it for? Sam said she was in trouble and asked to borrow some money. Are you at home right now? You blockhead, she's using you. Stall her. Edward was much smarter than his naive brother. He immediately figured out that Sam wanted to rob them and lie low. He sent the police to his house so that they could arrest that witch. We didn't want to miss the show and hurried there to watch Sam get handcuffed. Except she wasn't about to surrender so easily. As soon as she heard police sirens, she got into the car that belonged to Phil and Edward's dad and tried to escape. You shouldn't have underestimated me. Luckily, that nutjob was as bad at driving as she had been acting like my sister. The police quickly caught her and brought her to the station. I waved after her. Sorry, Sam, but I won't miss you. It was finally over and I went home to clean up after the crazy party. To my surprise, Edward knocked on my door and offered his help. Madison, you should know that I didn't help you get rid of Sam for the sake of my brother. I couldn't let anyone hurt you because I fell for you the second I saw you. Can you believe it? Mom was right. Before I could say anything, Phil appeared on my porch and apologized. Madison, I'm sorry. I fell under Sam's spell. Please be my girlfriend again. I looked at the twins and gently took Edward's hand. I choose you, Mr. Frowny. Don't act like you hate me anymore, though. Phil, I'm sorry, but you had your chance. Phil sadly said he got it and left. Edward kissed me sweetly on the cheek and helped me clean up the house. When my parents came back, I told them everything that had happened. I'm not mad at you for hiding the truth from me, but I still want to meet my real sister. Mom and Dad said they wanted to know how she was doing too. They found the phone number of their old friends, and soon my twin cold Paula came for a visit from Italy. She had no idea she had a sister before our call and was happy to meet me and her biological parents. She stayed with us for a while, and of course I introduced Paula to my friends. Phil immediately hit on her. Can you imagine? I wasn't jealous because I was happy with Edward. I made the right decision by choosing him. That's it for my story, and now please subscribe to the channel and like this video.